All right, there we go. All right, we are recording. Yep. All right.
Yes,
So we're recording for episode 3, I believe.
we've made it this far. Episode 3.
3. Yeah. Oh, that's good, guys. And we just want to start off by saying, from the podcast, or at least me and Jacob, that we get everybody's, we understand everybody's thoughts and concerns about, the protests and things like that. And, if you want to escape from that a bit, from the chaos of what is frankly the world we're living in right now, um, hop on, listen to it, free your mind yourself a bit and take those worries away for a little bit, even though it may not be a long time or not like completely blurt out your worries just by listening to this, but it's for a time to clear your head. And we just want to say to everybody, both sides, protesters, police, whoever has family members or family members of police or that are police officers or people that are going to the protest, we just want to say to both sides, be careful, be safe, and hopefully not all of this gets cleared up soon.
Yeah, no, for full 100% support from here.
And we are going to start with the nitty gritty. And so for this week, of course, we have our one album and our one album and one movie slash show. So we're gonna start off with, well, at least I'm gonna start off because last time Jacob went first. So I will start off with what Jacob recommended me. He recommended me Pieces of a Man.
Ever feel kinda down and out, you don't know just what to do?
Album by Gil Scott Heron, I believe.
Yeah, Heron. I always pronounced his first name as Jill instead of Gil.
Jill.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm kind of mad. It made sense because it was a G and an I, and that usually means a J sound, but no, it's
It's Gil. Yeah, I pronounced it as Gil, but anyway. And I listened to the album. It's a short album, an hour long. And my first impressions of it, I told Jacob, like off the record, that honestly, after hearing this film, it made me want to watch a Spike Lee film, and specifically Black Klansman, because the setting in which the Black Klansman takes, the 1960s, still the KKK movement still going on here and there, and just what the main character, the protagonist, goes through. It seemed like a soundtrack that would be on that movie. But other than that, the soundtrack's really just about um, oppression, and it was sort of like slam poetry. Like after listening to the first song on the album, "The Revolution Will Not Be Televised," I kind of wanted to snap, just be like,
yeah.
but how I stopped myself from doing that because it wasn't slam poetry, and there was a lot of things that really resonated because I've heard them before. Like "The Revolution Will Not Be Televised," I've heard that somewhere in like another song used by another artist, and also especially "Save the Children." Um, I heard it on a rapper's album, Joey Badass. Forgot the name of the album though. I think it was his first album, but he has a song called "Save the Children," and I like how he opens up that song because it's a bunch of pastors, a bunch of, I think it's either pastors or civil rights leaders. They were talking about saving the children for the years to come. Saving the children. That everything starts with the children, with the younger generation. And I really thought that that was really familiar. So I really understood a lot of the album. It's about oppression. Liberal right, being free from the oppression and from racism and things like that. And I could really understand where the time was being because literally this album was made in 1971, early 1970s, and I feel like he took like, I don't know, a year or two before to make this album to record it. So it was basically during the civil rights movement or towards the end of the civil rights movement which he released the album, and so a lot of the music makes sense. And a lot of music really correlated with these times, these uncertain times where we're seeing history, honestly, personally, history repeat itself. So I just thought, you know, it was something to really open up the mind and really get you thinking about the ideals and some of the problems that still are occurring to this day that have occurred, you know, not even what, I want to say 40 years, no, more than that, couple, yeah, like 40 something years ago. So yeah, I thought it was an interesting album.
Yeah, no, I mean, I recommended it to you mainly because I love the blues aspect to it,
Mm-hmm.
and it really really resonated to me musically.
Mm-hmm.
But it definitely does have that very very what was it current topic kind of lyrics in them right now, which I didn't. That wasn't like any reason why I just recommended it to you. I really thought it was just like a really good album.
No, yeah,
Um,
really well.
but yeah, no, and you know what he does talk about, like the revolution will not be televised.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, it's like it's super powerful stuff. Like
Mm-hmm.
you listen to it, and I have. It's one of the like few albums that I really like, sort of dug deeper than what I usually do, and listen to the lyrics, and he does say some powerful stuff, like you said with like save the children, how everything starts with the children, with the next generation, and how it was very important to save the children, and it's so important. The newest album that Gil Scott Heron has released, which is in 2020, I think, I believe. He's still making music. It's literally called "Save the Children." So it's a big thing for him, especially. Um, but mainly for me, this album is just, you know, it's great to like sort of, what is it, like just drive along to, you know, and really feel like, you know, you're listening to some quality, you know, while you're taking a drive out.
Yeah, no, it's perfectly understandable, like why, and you did hear the blues aspects of it. It really reminded me a lot of Bill Bobby. Hold on, I forgot his name. It's let's see, my songs around here. Bobby Caldwell. There we go. It really had like that certain, I would say, like you said, blues and like jazz like sound to it, especially for its time. Um, because that was mainly what a lot of people heard back then. Like the surge of blues and jazz was really kind of like in like the upper part of the 1900s. You know, from the 20s down to like the 70s, early 80s. So you do get a hint of that jazz and blues sounds into it. Um,
Yeah,
and also, you know, the titles of the songs too. They really speak a lot. They really sounded personal too. The artist himself, because the song "Home Is Where the Hated Is." I feel like that song when he was talking about it. You know, some people, well, like when you want to be successful and you become successful, when you return home, people criticize you for being successful, and I feel like that's sort of like an oxymoron, where the people you know, people your community wants you to be successful, wants you to be better than them, and once you are, or you're out and you're successful, they criticize you for being successful. And I think that's a lot of things that he not only talked about, like the oppression of, you know, the things around him and the laws around him at the time, but also about the things that were happening within his community, the habits, usually the bad habits that the community had as well.
yeah, no, definitely. Like this album is really emotionally charged, and what I find is great about it is that, you know, it's an album you can either sit down and really listen to and have like a thoughtful experience with it, or be able to just play it and jam out to it. You know, it serves both of those listening experiences to me very very well, and it's really versatile and in that aspect, which I think is awesome, because, you know, Being able to have those two very different experiences with it, I think really, what is it? Really, ah, it just really enhances the album, in my opinion. That's what it is.
Yeah, yeah, it really speaks to you. And
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the album. I give the album a solid 8 out of 10.
Solid 8 out of 10.
Yes, a solid 8 out of 10. Because
You know,
it really does resonate a lot, you know, with everything that was going on. And I also think about the times, oh, when I heard the music, it reminded me of, you know, earlier times, you know, with the civil rights movement. Because really, the civil rights movement back then is probably, I don't want to sound like too controversial, but people in the 1960s and the civil rights movements, they went through some far worse stuff than what's happening now. You know, they had water that like now they have tear gas and rubber bullets. Back then they had dogs attacking. You were sprayed. People were sprayed down by the dozens by fire truck hoses and everything. And you know, for him to be able to like release that music and really tell the people who were listening to it, you know, stand up, start the revolution, is something really powerful, especially for that time.
yeah, no, it's super super powerful because there's a lot of black artists, like musical artists, that have been shut down and killed basically by the government. One famous case is Billie Holiday for her song
Hmm.
"Strange Fruit," which was all about
Yeah.
the Deep South's lynching of black people. You know, those were the strange fruit of the trees that she talked about, and literally the man who was put in charge of, you know, of handling prohibition in the government, uh, you know, he was put in charge of handling all that at the time when prohibition was being, you know, taken down. And so he focused on sort of narcotics, and you know, and I've researched it too, where he hated people who were, he hated addicts and he hated addiction, or no, and he hated narcotics. That's what it was. He hated drugs. And Billie Holiday was that person where she was addicted to drugs, and she was his main target. And after singing that song, the government basically shut her down, and it got so bad that there was an FBI agent that was literally sent into Harlem and stalked her basically to make sure what she was doing was right, and that if she would ever sing it again, you know, she would get shut down, which she did. Every like hotel that she managed to book or any musical gig, she would always sing "Strange Fruit" ever since she got it. And when she got put into the hospital for a relapse of addiction and getting and overdosing, there there was a lot of there's a lot of government interference after they found out and stopped giving her like the correct medication to sort of recover, and it contributed a lot to her death. So for Gil Scott Heron to be able to sort of release this music that speaks out against all of this oppression and still be alive today making music, you know, is definitely speaks volumes, I think, of especially like of how much we've gone forward as a nation.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. But yeah, that's "Pieces of Man" by Gil Scott Heron, and if you want to get a listen to him, he's on Spotify. And now we are moving to the album I recommended to you. Just completely different from what you recommended.
Oh yeah, no, like you definitely recommended me a very different album, and I give Pieces of a Man a 10 out of 10. I love it. It's one of my favorite blues jazz albums of all time.
Mhm.
But no, so Osio recommended me Any Port and Storm by the Dirty Heads.
One by one, just them will turn the end. We will make them all that the end. So now
I actually listened to the special edition,
Mhm.
which was kind of cool. They had neat other songs on it.
Hmm.
And to sort of describe the album, it's there's definitely rap aspects to it,
Yeah.
but what stuck out to me was a lot of the acoustics, a lot of the rhythmic acoustics that were also played into the album, or were just like inside of the album, and really left a lasting impression on me. Even though it started really loud with the heavy rap influences, it settled down into a more acoustic tone, which I think was really nice to hear and listen to. It was a nice combination, because usually, at least in my case, because I'm not too big into the rap scene,
Hmm.
um, those things are not put together, and this album they were, and I was definitely more. I liked it, for a person who doesn't like that kind of stuff, and who doesn't really appreciate it. I could appreciate this album for just like how good it was.
Hmm. No, yeah. I honestly, it was a while back, but I really didn't know that I've heard this band before until I rewatched Surf's Up because Stand Tall, that song in the album was in Surf's Up when he meets Big Z and he starts surfing again.
Really?
Yeah, Stand Tall comes out and Surf's Up.
Yo.
Yeah, when I rewatched it, I'm like, oh wait, that's the Dirty Heads. I've heard this song before. So I was
Mm,
just like, oh, I mean, it's it's Stand Tall and Lay Me Down that are my favorite songs of the album. I really like
mm,
Lay Me Down just because of the story that tells that Western story. The lovers, they're outlaws. They're running from the law, but they're spending their time together. I really like that, and especially the help from Sublime with Rome. No, no, it's just Rome with Sublime. Never mind, it's just him. I thought it was the band too,
yeah.
but honestly, I love the way the lead singer from Dirty Heads took up the rap parts, while Rome handled the chorus and the bridge, which I thought was really nice because they sounded really well together, and you have that grudgy. I wouldn't say grudgy, but that, yeah, that grudgy like rap thing, and then you have Rome's fluid vocals going through, just like Lay Me Down. But those are like the two songs that I really enjoyed from the album, or that really stood.
Yeah. I don't know.
Oh yeah, that was it.
Oh, okay. So I definitely do. I like that too. I forgot that Rome of Sublime also helped out on the vocals on this album, but I definitely do like I appreciated the juxtaposition between the heavy rap that definitely had that sort of youthful, to me, because it's like the only other rap that I've ever been like exposed to, like sort of like a youthful Eminem vibe, where it's like it could be like very vicious,
Mhm.
with a very melodic Rome of Sublime's tone, or vocal cords. And it's nice to just be able to compare those, really, in the same song, and get a nice product out of it. I mean, I personally like Check the Level and Insomnia the most, to me, because I think they handled that a lot, very well. And I think Check the Level is just really just a nice banger inside of this album that has a lot more energy than like the other acoustic parts that they handled, like what is it? I think it rains, it pours. I think that's the one that's more calming than anything.
Mm. Oh yeah, but honestly, like I said, I've only heard this album specifically. I haven't heard any of their other music. I know they're good.
Mm,
The reason I started listening to them was because of Stand Tall, because I was just like, honestly, that's a good song. They probably make more good music like that.
yeah,
But yeah, honestly, I really enjoyed the album too. It's also like another reggae album as well, where you have that rap and that melodic vocals every here and there, but you also have that heavy rap, and also sort of the acoustic work just too, because a lot of reggae, at least in my personal opinion, a lot of reggae sounds better acoustically.
Mhm.
Like with Sublime when they did Rivers of Babylon, their acoustic, their version I absolutely loved because they gave their own reggae vibe to it, but it was only doing it with like two guitars was really interesting and really nice to hear.
Yeah, no, no, definitely. I appreciated those parts in here as well, where it's like where it had that reggae feel, and I could really just sort of melt into that song, really, and I really appreciate it for was it the rhythm that it kept on going with. It's a really it's just a really nice amalgamation of all these different styles that are neatly packaged into this 123 song long album that's about an hour long.
Yeah, but yeah. Honestly, my ratings about the album, I'd give it a good 7 out of 10, just because I don't like if I probably biased. Like if I'd known the album a lot, I probably would have given it a 10 out of 10. But like I feel like since I haven't like fully discovered or like fully listened to the band, I'd probably give it like a good six, like 6.5 to 7 out of 10, just because I haven't fully experienced or immersed myself into the band.
Mhm.
How about you?
I think I would definitely give this an 8 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Like because to me like an 8 out of 10 would be like I would play it on a car ride with like my friends around. So like this to me is like material to just be like, all right, put it on while I'm on the aux and bop to it, you know?
No, it's definitely there are some songs here that you can like bop to, that you could
Yeah.
listen to, like clear your mind, just enjoy it for what it is. And I really enjoy music like that, especially the reggae genre, because they have a lot of music like that where you can just put it on and enjoy it for what it is. You don't have to like
Mhm.
deeper meaning. It's just like happy song. Like Bob Marley with the Wailers did a lot of music like that.
Yeah.
Really funny, just be happy, enjoy the moment. And I really enjoy that about reggae and especially this album in general.
Me too. Me too. Definitely really did enjoy it. I liked it a lot. Like it brought a good smile to my face.
Yeah. Ooh, and now we are going to talk about the movies.
Yes. This time we actually recommended each other movies, like both of us. Could you believe that?
No, it's amazing. So we finished shortly too. Look at this. Hold up. Wow, it's barely 11:19. We got through the music in like 20 minutes. Now we can talk. We can spend most of the majority of the time talking about movies.
Hey guys, this might be just a one part. Like we don't have to split it anymore.
Okay, so I'll start off. You recommended me with.
Yes.
I cannot even begin to start. Like I really enjoyed that movie. The influences I got from it was like a Mad Max Death Race sort of vibe.
Mhm.
So outlaw, it was illegal, but you see all these tricked out cars, no rules and everything. How they were able to add the futuristic aspect to it. You see one of the main characters, Sanashi. She's in a hovercraft for crying out loud. Others are in like insanely large cars, insanely fast cars, insanely destructive cars. And I really found that interesting. I found that the art style, by the way, was absolutely amazing. It was a mixture between the perfect form of like humanness to cartoonish sort of things. Like they mixed it perfect. Like it wasn't over cartoony, nor was it over, realistic, but it was like that perfect in the middle.
Yeah.
And I also like the main character, JP. He reminded me a lot of the main character from Space Dandy.
Ooh, I love myself some daddy.
No, dude, apparently I heard that that's like, because I know that's another Watanabe work, and I feel like
Mhm.
from what I heard is that that's like when he mastered the art of like all the episodes come together to create a bigger picture, bigger idea. And I heard that that's the show that he mastered that because you had Cowboy, Shampoo, and then Dandy, I believe.
I can tell you from watching Space Dandy and the English dub, which is much better than like the subtitles,
Yeah,
like the Japanese voice actors, like that it may seem like a really goofy series,
no, but it's
and
deep.
like
I heard it's deep. It has its like deeper aspects to it.
oh every episode that ends, well, not like everyone, well, no, it is everyone, where it's like when it ends you definitely feel like there is some weight to it, and there's like some weight on your shoulders, either like from just how it looks, like or just how the episode ends, and it always ends with a little bit of melancholy, especially when you get to the end and you find out how every single episode is connected.
It,
Like Space Dandy is literally his masterpiece.
yeah, I know that's what I heard. But anyway, going back to Redline, honestly,
Yeah, getting back to the red line.
dude, the Redline. I love the sequence and then I'm really hooked on the art style. You have all these cool futuristic things, also Grudge, but it's really impressive to see. Hmm?
Yeah, and and just for everybody who like doesn't know right now, like Redline is just basically a racer story. It follows like Sweet JP and his quest to beat
Red,
or to beat the red line, which is this huge illegal huge illegal racing like tournament where
across the universe.
where like everyone has to like was it qualify for it, and it only happens like once every 5 years,
Yeah,
and it's like it's an anime, which is crazy because I usually get recommended the anime, and now I'm recommending the anime.
yeah,
um, but yeah, so it really just follows his story, and really you go in for it a lot for the racing, because all of the animation is super fluid in the middle, and in the middle there's a lot of nice characterization of everyone who is in the race. But that's basically just an overview, and after that we're just gonna after right now we're just gonna spoil the hell out of it. So like just to tell you, because I cannot sing its praises enough, like if you are just a very basic surface level person, you will enjoy this purely because of the animation style, right? And that's it. There's nothing else you need. If just go ahead, go watch it if you haven't already, and if you have, just stick around.
no, yeah, I absolutely agree. Honestly, I really love, and also you really see like the director's work and like distinguishing the most important characters because you have Sweet JP. He's the only one that's racing in what we would comprehend as a vehicle. He's racing in a Trans Am. And I really found that really to be interesting because the way they distinguished him, he was the only person with like an actual car and also one of the only human beings in the red line. That's how you were able to distinguish and see, oh, that's my main character right there. And I just gotta say, the Trans Am was a nice choice. It's a really nice car. It's a really fast car too. So I really enjoyed about like the director using the differences and using like all of this uniqueness around him, but the only human being, the only normal car per se is used to distinguish the main character.
And it's funny because to me the Pontiac Trans Am is like the coolest looking car out of all of them, because and for everybody who like can't afford to rent it, even though like it's on Tubi TV, which is a nice free platform that just plays with ads for movies. There is this 12-minute video on YouTube that perfectly shows just how amazing these car races are, you know, and it just opens up with the first 12 minutes of the movie, which is Sweet JP's last race for the yellow line to qualify for red line. And there's all of these other cars and races that are competing inside of this race as well, and it gets super crazy because in the race everything is allowed. So and it gives a lot of creativity to how races play out, because with these cars that are totally tricked out. A lot of them on wheels. You know, there's one that looks like just a brick on wheels, and another one that's just like has a what is it, like a dolphin tail at the back, or something, like something equivalent of that.
Of like,
They're all like super colorful, and they all have their weapons to sort of trick the other racers. Like a lot of it's missiles, right, to
I don't think
make sure the other racers don't get a lead. OCL, you have anything there?
it was season
No,
2.
I perfectly agree.
They do like flashbacks with her in
And
them.
I sort of see, and also
I
another way
think
that
so.
they
They
use to
did that in
distinguish the main
season
characters.
2,
He doesn't
and
have
I
any
think they
weapons
did
in
it
his
in
car.
season 3, like a little
He
bit.
doesn't see the
I
race
know this
as like
season
a
they found a
war.
lot
He
of
sees it as a race.
not
Like we're just here to
flashbacks,
see
but
who's the
like
fastest, who's gonna win.
Clay
And
has
he really
dreams,
doesn't
and Monty
dig into
and Bryce
his,
are
or
in
to
them.
like the desire or like the urge to like, let's
So
like
maybe
put some
something
missiles
like
on
that,
it, or
like he
like
has
some
a
things
dream
to
and
help
she's
me
in
out.
it.
He knows, and he has a lot of
And I'll
faith in
keep you
his
updated. I'm gonna watch
expertise and
probably
his skill that he could win the race
See
without
how
any
far I can
weapons. And I
get.
think that was a really cool idea too. And also kind of explain, kind of something that really caught me off guard was the nudity of the movie, because at some point you just see this she with like her rack out, and I did not expect that. I was just like, oh.
Yeah, no, like there are some moments where it's like the movie kind of catches you off guard, but honestly, to me, it's like it caught me off guard, but at the same time, just the beauty of every single frame in this movie, which to just say that this movie was released, and I believe what you said was either 2009 or 2011. I guess which one was it?
I think it was
I
2009.
like.
It's because I think
I
there's
know he's
two
really
movies.
problematic,
There's
but I
one where it's like
stand
a
Justin
rock
so
star
hard.
who
I think
accidentally
he's such a
joins it, and
sweetheart,
then
and I
there's
feel so
Sweet,
bad
and
for
then there's the
him.
one where it's like Sweet JP.
I stand him.
Yeah, no. So for everybody who like wants the correct Redline that we're talking about, it's the 2009 version, and it had been in production for about 7 years before it was released, and every single one of like these frames are hand animated. Like nothing is computer graphics at all. And it goes all the way back to like cell animation too. It's not, you do it on the computer. You had to do it by hand, like how it was in the old days, but in the 21st century. And it just showed how beautiful and amazing everything could be. And it's just gorgeous. Like every single frame. Like there's this one that I always like to point to, where Sweet JP arrives at the Oasis where he first gets to talk to Cherry Boy Hunter,
Yeah,
Sonashi, really.
And I
And
I like Sonashi better than Cherry Boy
why
Hunter.
is it?
yeah, Cherry Boy Hunter Sonashi McLaren. And he rides on his like little hovercraft motorcycle, which is just the dopest thing ever, because it's like so outrageously like long and like tall, and rides that perfect line, like how OCL said, where it's not like too cartoonish, but still like is cartoonish in a way. It's you gotta watch it to realize. But him getting off of the hovercraft bike motorcycle, and just being on that bare like moon land, while there is this just giant building that is its backdrop, is like such a beautiful, really, like painting that you could have. And every single one of the frames is just a beautiful painting that you could literally just screenshot, print it out, and like frame it as like a poster on your wall, and it would look amazing.
Already kind of traumatized
adding
from being
to
bullied
that,
so much, but then that happened on top of that was
when
just,
he crashes on the motorbike and he lands in a field of
it was
flowers,
so bad.
the glowing flowers, and he
And
looks up to the sky.
I
Just
hate
that
to say
shot
this, but I don't
was
feel
like
bad for
absolutely
Monty at
amazing. I
all.
loved it because it was just so sick.
Like, I
you have
don't,
the
because
stars
are
up
you
above,
gonna
and then you
watch
have the
season
glowing
4?
flowers like beneath, like at him, and he's just like there chilling.
Yeah, no, exactly. And like when he and even like into that too, when he gets all of the flashbacks of how Sanashi inspired him to become a racer and race in Redline, and like land onto the flowers after, and the flowers, like just him on the flowers too, it's like super beautiful, and at the end his eyes like just have a bunch of fire just come out of them for like a split second.
Yeah,
it's just like super nice, and especially like when you add the context to it, where it was after Sanashi had asked him why he races, and he said, and he gave her like a super bullshitty answer that was like, I just do it because I want to, you know, and he didn't have to say anything to communicate to the audience that she was the reason why, after you go through the flashbacks afterwards. And it's like, and it just shows to just great movie making, because in no way is Redline like a super deep movie that has a lot to say, like other than, or just rather than like just being a fun movie to watch.
Yeah.
With like some message behind it. You know, it really is a lot about its beauty and animation, but still has that fantastic work of just movie magic of communicating to the audience by showing and not telling. It understands itself that way and is awesome.
Yeah, I perfectly agree. And then just this movie was amazing. The race scene, and you know, the cussing was really funny too. When she's just like, take that, you cocksucker. That was like so funny because it was just like so unexpected, and it's really not a lot of dubbed animes you see like curse, or like when you curse, especially using like heavy words like that.
I did.
So I just thought it was really funny. It was a fun film to enjoy, and one thing I kind of didn't like about the film was the ending, just how it ended. It was kind of like, I thought they were like gonna celebrate like a bottle of champagne, but you know they're just floating around in the sky,
right now, and I'm looking
you know,
at, like,
in love with each other.
Like,
so I mean, but I really did enjoy the movie. I liked
tiles that come up when you're like watching something, and it has like pictures of the show.
See, was it when JP's was racing in Redline,
like,
and then out of nowhere when he plugs in the nitro, he starts spinning like a disc, and he like goes up front. I thought that was so funny.
Yeah, actually, I wanna touch on the ending just a little bit before I forget, because I completely have a completely different opinion over the ending, because I love it. I think to me it's perfect, because to me it summarizes like because the Redline race takes up a total of like 40 minutes within the movie.
The other one I got.
Yeah.
After you get past the first hour of the movie, you're into just that entire race. It really doesn't feel like it, but it is 40 minutes. And to me, it just perfectly summarizes the ending of like all of the ecstasy that goes into just competitions in general. Like say wrestling. You and I were both in wrestling.
Yeah.
Not at the same time, but you know, when you're in the wrestling ring, there's definitely a lot of like ecstasy that is built up, whether you're like losing or winning, especially when you're winning.
Yeah.
That is built up, and then after, say, you get the guy down on his shoulder blades, and the ref is counting, and then he's like, he's out. And like, just it perfectly summarizes to me the ecstasy you feel during the competition and release afterwards. It's just that quick release, and you have like no time to think about what just happened. Because I remember a lot of my wrestling matches, I didn't remember what happened while in the match. It was just, you know, after I got the win or after I lost, it was just, and to me that's like the entire film. That's like what the entire ending to me like just perfectly summarizes, with them just floating in the air and just like in love, you know, because I feel like if I was with a girl that I had a crush on, let's say if I was with my girlfriend and driving and like winning a race with her, or like literally by a hair, right? Because his ducktail literally forces him to win. And like I would definitely be like, all right, it's time to lock some lips right now and then end the entire movie, because that is just the only thing that's on my mind. Just talking about it, it has my heart pumping.
I see what you mean. No, I heard that saying. Honestly, I can't, because in wrestling, mainly I was the one on my back. I only won like one varsity.
Oh yeah, no, I never won a varsity match.
No, I won one varsity match. I won a couple JV matches.
Yeah.
I got second place in a JV tournament that we held. But other than that, I mean, yeah, I kind of understand what you're saying. You know, that release, that after everything's done, you get to look back and you're like, damn. So I see what you were talking about, or like what you meant by that. I really did enjoy the movie. The characters, they were funny in itself. You know, the events that happened before it led up to the race, when that cop beat up those two racers.
Yeah.
I thought that was really funny. And then also you see sort of the anarchy. There's anarchy towards it too, because they're hosting a race on a world in which the world didn't give consent to host the race, and it's funny to see like a bunch of anarchy and all this all this work coming and all the coming together of like I wouldn't say the low lives, but the like not the rejects, but the outlaws all coming together and working for a common cause, which is Redline. And I really enjoyed that. I really thought that was cool. But yeah, honestly, she by far the best looking girl on the movie.
Yeah, no, I remember I watched it with a friend, and he had talked about, because there is the Gorilla Man, the Blue Gorilla Man's wife, like police officer, or no, not wife, but girlfriend, that there's like controversy over.
Mm-hmm. That's
like the blonde chick, the
police. She was the chief.
Yeah, the police chief.
Are the rumors true that you're having an affair with the chief of police? He's just like
to move in, but I know she was today, like moving her stuff.
I thought that was really funny too. But I remember he had told me like if she had more screen time, she would have been like the hottest one. So, but she only appears in like two second clips,
Yeah.
And I would definitely say Sonashi is the girl.
She's the heroine of the story.
Yeah, she really is. Like I like the design of the what is it, of the sisters from the
fairy
from planet. The fairy from planet Supergrass.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know, they dress pretty.
So he gave us extra.
What is it? Seductively.
Mm-hmm.
No, I like them, but at the same time, it's like Sonashi, and I really like them for another way, which is basically just how like the director kind of used them to just like really go head first into like, well, how seductive can we get with these characters, and like all of like even their racer you see turn into like a giant like robo girl, where literally the two Supergrass women or fairies are like inside of the boobs with like the last screens over them, like just trying to push it, like how far can we get. Their car is literally a transformer that transforms into a chick.
Yeah, I know. I thought that was funny too, and as you said, I feel like they're seeing how overly seductive they could go, because with Sonashi, at least her character is saying she's seductive to a point, but she's not too seductive. Take her seriously. You can take her seriously, and once you get into her backstory and like her upbringing and everything, you have more respect for her. Yeah, she's hot, but she's respectable. She has a decent cause.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can definitely respect Sonashi, because she talks about her. She touches on her backstory lightly on the Oasis, where she's like, hey, my dad is always or was it, no, it was like my dad gave me the steam light, and I've always been racing with him and stuff, and we've always been together. So like you can see that, and you'd be like, oh yeah, no, this is like a respectable woman. Like you can't like over sexualize her, or I mean you can, but it's not obviously out there like with the fairies,
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was. Honestly, I thought the character design was cool, because you have a lot of different people. JP's partner, he's a freaking lizard person.
Yeah.
And I just like the resolve. I like how the movie played out and everything because it was a really good movie. I really did enjoy it. Um, another aspect about the movie.
Yeah, and no, go on.
I like the formation of I like the names of the things too, because the Robo World when they had their secret weapon they named it what, Fuzzy Boy, or was it Noisy Boy?
They called him Funky Boy.
Funky Boy. There we go. Movie like 2 weeks ago, so don't judge me. But
Oh, that's fine.
yeah, when there's like Funky Boy, like it was like very like futuristic steampunk name, and everything's like a sort of futuristic steampunk. From the way they dressed, the way their cars were designed and built, and the mechanic from JP's team, J,
Mm.
JP's team, the way he just looked like so steampunkish, with like all the arms, the goggles, and the bike, the chopper, his gun too.
Oh, Old Man Mole. I love Old Man.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting, and it was a really fun movie. I saw a review about it, and it kind of summed it up perfectly. It's a movie you could watch with anybody because it's not like those questionable anime moments. So like somebody random walks into your room and you just see breast, and or they see something questionable and they're like and then that draws them away from like actually understanding and watching the show. This was like a movie that you could watch like with your parents to an extent. It's
Yeah,
slow.
up until the titty pops out.
Yeah, but like even then your parents can get past, but can get passed by that. And
Yeah,
just watch the movie for what it really is, which is just the race.
yeah, no, really, and I liked it. I don't think I've seen that review. I thought I saw all the reviews of the movie, but no, it definitely is a movie you could sort of put on and with just everybody around you. It's not a movie that is exclusively to one group. It is just like to me, it's like a crowd pleaser. Like everybody would enjoy the movie. At least everybody that I've talked to and I've shown like seriously does enjoy the movie and really likes it.
hmm And I think it's funny because I know this movie came out in like 2009, but like I'm surprised a lot of people don't know about this movie. I don't know if it was just like a, like I don't want to say second rate, but like not indie either, but like a hidden gem sort of thing because it is a really amazing movie.
Oh, dude, so let me just talk about the background of the movie too, or after it was released. So the movie is obviously made by Madhouse Studios,
hmm
and I love Madhouse for the pure reason that this movie was taking 7 years to make and almost bankrupted the studio, but they still found it in their hearts to not cancel the project and keep on going with it.
hmm
Like and since it had almost bankrupted them, the guy who worked on him on who worked on Redline, I forgot his name, but he got fired like that the same day it was released. It was like, you're done.
Dude.
Because you costed us way too much money, and there wasn't like a big ad campaign for it because there wasn't enough money to do it. So that's why like not a lot of people know it. Like everybody who's seen it is like, oh, it's pretty good, but it wasn't like marketed well enough to do good, and it was like such a major flop. It did not make a lot of money at all, and to me, I am dedicated to making more people watch the movie. And I have another movie that is like a diamond in the rough and has its own production, or not its own production, but own release, like Horror Story.
hmm
But like I've made it my journey to, or I've made it my entire existence to promote this movie and like how good it is, because it was it was sabotaged, man. It was sabotaged by budget.
Was sabotaged by money. Sabotaged.
Yeah,
No, yeah, but it's a really good movie. I'm surprised not a lot of people have heard of it. And yeah,
it was.
see myself recommending like a lot of people like, oh, like you want to watch like sort of like if they like to get them into like anime, or like, oh, watch Redline or watch Cowboy Bebop, like show them like the good things before like they get away from, or they try to get away from it, just give it a chance. Like this is sort of like this is sort of something like you could break into and be like, yeah, like okay, the anime is somewhat good and sort of thing like that.
Yeah, I think this is definitely something like you could give to a starter of anime and just be like, hey, watch this, and they'd be like, okay, now I'm open to watching Japanese shit. And just to add on just one more thing, because I forgot about it. This was the director's first movie that he ever made, first feature film that he ever made.
Bruh, and they fired him.
And they fired, like, what kind of director other than like Orson Welles comes out with like a banger as his first movie, like a straight up banger? Excuse me. All right, so I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna keep on talking. Just about Redline. So, another thing that I really like about Redline is basically just all the aliens that are put into it, and all the character designs for the aliens, because and it's displayed a lot in the racers, where there's like this one guy, I forgot his name. I think he's like little. No. Or there's this one racer that sort of enters halfway through the race. His name is Little Dezuna, and he's part of the Robo World like regime, and he has this funny character trait where like he cries, and when he cries, he like gets better at basically beating ass.
Oh yeah,
And but it
the
huh?
funniest part that was like the funniest part, especially when he was at Oasis, when he was talking to one of the racers and he started like beating the crap out of him because he was just so sad that they left him in the army by himself.
Yeah, no, and it's like it's super cool because also his character design like would make him menacing, because he has like sort of a Red Skull kind of face that's like really sunken in, and what I really like about just the art style in general in the movie is there's a lot of hard like thick black lines that outline every single one of the characters. It's like a really old comic where it's not printed in color, but it has those dark lines to sort of define a character and make them more mysterious. And I really love that design to do so.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say it kind of reminded me of Borderlands, because you know how in Borderlands they're the character designs of everybody, they have those thick black lines that outline them, outline their facial features and a lot of other things. I thought that was really interesting to see, and especially with JP's friend JP himself, a lot of like the menacing characters like the police that entered the race. One of the main the I forgot his name. He was a character that won Redline like 2 times in a row, almost 3 times in a row, and you see like the black lines over like sort of thickening with them because they're menacing, and it really outlines and defines like that menace, that boldness, that menacingness, that sort of like fear that they're trying to make the fearfulness that they're trying to make the character look like.
Yeah, no, definitely they use those black lines to be able to definitely like show like, hey, this is a menacing character as well. But again, they use it very smartly to just show just like have a nice was it art design in general. Like what was it, the blue gorilla guy is was it gory writer.
Mm-hmm.
He has a lot of black lines, like especially in his chest area, and that just I like how they use it to sort of show like the power that they have, like how like dark and how much black is in their character design shows like they're just overwhelming physical power among the racers, which is just a nice visual nod to how the audience is supposed to take to these characters.
Yeah, and honestly, one last thing that I really enjoyed about the movie, I thought was honestly kind of smooth with JP when when he's just like, let's win this race together with Sanashi, and his car design, it's just like a one-seater, so like Sanashi has to like be up all on him, and at the same time she's racing with him too. I thought that was just like really smooth of him, really smooth moves. He takes some
Yeah,
JP.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a really smooth move in general. And honestly, like just to touch upon this too, the relationships between like all of the racers and just Sweet JP in general, because like Sweet JP's relationship with Frisbee, his the team mechanic, and also the other team mechanic, Old Man, you know, all of their banter is like super cool and like super. I would honestly just watch an entire hour's worth of them just talking to each other because how great their dynamic is. Like Sweet JP loves both of them equally, and things like they're both really cool guys. But Old Man is like less trustworthy of Frisbee because he's in mob, and Frisbee just thinks he's like this like higher than everybody else mechanic. You know, it's so fucking it's so nice to just hear their banter every time they're together, and like even woven between that, it's really like, you know, they're like family. You know, they would never like leave each other. They're just having quarrels, and just the nice through line with that too is really amazing.
Yeah, like Fast and Furious. Like I got family on. I got family on.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like what the thing with Fast and Furious is they always got to say, "Oh, we're family," or like sweet, like in Redline, you never had to say it. You just know.
They already knew. Yeah, honestly, I thought that was really good. And you also see like Redline as a community because everybody like different species. You know, even the princess from planet. What was the planet? It was planet Sweetgrass.
Supergrass.
Supergrass. You know how she pitched in. You know, with like dusting in Robo World and using her ship as a finish line, or using like the red line ship as a finish line indicator. So you just see like that entire community bundled together, and you really get a sense of like the racing community or like the outlaw community bundled, uniting together for a common cause. And I thought that was really nice to see as well.
Yeah, no, and I really think like having it as like the criminals or the outlaw community like doing the red line really also built upon or really enhance like just the crazy wacky races. No, I shouldn't say wacky, but just like the insane heights that these races go to, and like destructive capability. Because all of these people who are not good people, they're all like just outlaws in space. You know, it gives them a reason to use these explosives, like these missiles. Lynchman in his car has like a hook that grabs onto things whenever he wants to like push it. And then there's also these two like little smaller racers. I forgot their name, but they have like this little car that looks like a bug, right?
Yeah, and it dug underneath the minefield.
Yeah, no, no. Well, it grabbed onto Gory Riders, like the blue gorilla guy. It grabbed onto his what is it, onto his ride while he was digging underneath the field mine. And it's like I love it because it all makes sense because these outlaws would do it. They would cheat because they already cheat the system. So it's all like just super neat. And then the characterization of all of them too before the race definitely like it is awesome because it makes you care for all of them.
Yeah.
You know, for days in
it gives them a sense of personality. Like they're not just there as like placeholders for the race. They have their own personalities. They have their own flavor. Their own character style that they contribute to the story and to the race itself.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like they're definitely not just like husks of people there to fill out what is it? To just fill a void and like or just fill out cars. They're all real people. Like you get the sense for like Gory Rider again, you know, how he has a little controversy with the police chief, right? And before he even enters, or not before he enters the race, but right before the race starts, he opens up like his wallet with her and like gives her, or like a little picture and like gives her a little kiss or thinks about her. And it gives him a little bit of characterization. Like you know a little bit part of into his life. Machine Head, who we haven't even talked about, who's like the robotic.
Who upgrades himself with his car. He is his
yeah,
car.
he's the robot kind of. I don't know. Like, is he a robot?
Yeah, I think he is. You know, he kind of reminds me of Apocalypse.
Oh yeah, no, he does.
I don't know why that just came to me, but yeah, he kind of reminds me of Apocalypse or like Juggernaut. No, not Juggernaut, but mainly Apocalypse. Because he's like this big metallic man, sort of. He carries himself in high regard as well, and sort of like he was Redline's winner for I think 2 times or 3 times in a row, I believe, something like.
Oh, I don't know. I just know he's won it. I think he might have won it like 4 times.
4 times, like
He,
we might be wrong.
like he's won it a lot.
A lot. Just to get to the point, he's won it a lot. So like to see him be sort of like not the main, like the competition, but also he's a character himself. You know how much he's into racing, how he sees himself. He sees himself as, he doesn't see his car as just a car. He sees it as a part of himself. That's why every time he slowly upgrades himself into his car until he'll become eventually he'll become the car. He is one with the car. And I thought that was really cool.
It's definitely like a really cool character trait to have, because you really do, again, like feel like you get to know them. And then also when they go, because there's this entire little section where like there's the Redline TV show that goes into like a character dive into each and every one of the racers, and it resembles real life, because that's what usually happens in real life. And every time you see like a, what is it, like one of the interviews for Machine Head, he always has like his little dog that he's petting, so that he likes dogs, and he especially likes his dog. So it brings a little bit of characterization of him too. Like he loves racing, and he wants to, and he's always wanting to constantly improve himself, but also has a nice neat little love and appreciation for dogs, and that goes throughout with like every single one of the characters, every single one of the racers. You just get to know a little bit about their personalities. That way, when they race, you're kind of like, ooh, you have a stake in everyone. It's it's not just it's mainly about Sweet JP, Sonashi, but everybody else you have a connection with. You definitely do feel when the Robo World government goes all berserk and starts hammering them with all of their soldiers that they have. You feel like, no, I don't want them to be like cheated out of this. You want them to fight back, and you want them to still continue with the race too. Like you have, again, a stake in the characters themselves.
Yeah, and also I believe that, and you see that nobody's evil in the race. They only act that way because they're racing and they want to win competitive. I can't say it, but that urge to win. Like, all have it. So after the race is done, you see everybody smiling and like melancholy or like relief, all that. Like it's finally over. It's done with. Like there's really nobody that's evil or like that they're against each other. Like even off of the racetrack, they're just there to race. So I really like at the end, like the compilation when everybody's looking up at towards JP and Sanashi, like almost everybody's smiling or everybody's like, they have that sigh of relief or that look of relief on their face, like it's finally over, and it just shows that like these are like actual people. Like if you like after the race, if you got to know them, like you'd probably be friends with them or get to know them better. That's what I really enjoyed about the characters as well.
Yeah, honestly, like when the credits roll and Redline Day plays, like all I wanted to do was really just meet the characters themselves. Like if I could transform myself into a 2D version of like the anime, I would definitely be like, hey, I'd want to like be friends with all of them, which I think is a great feeling, because if a movie can do that to a person, like I think they have definitely achieved being a fantastic film. And this was like the first anime that I had ever watched, Not that like I'd ever watched like in general. Like I've watched anime before, but the first one I had ever watched and like really considered like film. Like this is cinema.
Yeah. Honestly, for me, this movie, I have to agree. It's a 10 out of 10 film. It's just an enjoyable film.
It is a big 13 out of 10. That's a 13 out of 10. I'm gonna keep on raising. Well, no, okay. Listen, Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is like my favorite movie, so it's a good 11 out of 10. It's a good 11 out of 10.
A 10 plus 1 out of 10.
Yeah, it's a 10 plus 1 out of 10.
No, but yeah, great. But good movie. Again, Redline. I saw it on Tubi. Was it Tubi? It was TU. Let's see. Find it.
TUBI TV.
Yeah, TV. Well, it's free. You do have ads whatsoever, but again, it's a really good movie. And now on to the next movie.
And not the Benedict Cumberbatch one. It's the Robert Downey Jr. one. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have to say I almost accidentally watched the sequel before I watched like the real one.
You almost watched Game of Shadows?
Yeah, I almost watched Game of Shadows instead of like Sherlock Holmes for like Robert Downey Jr.'s. And I was like, oh my god, thank God I didn't rent that one. I'd like be stupid.
Wait, you saw the first one, right?
Yeah, I saw the first one.
Okay, you saw the first one, yeah, because that's where you really see. Honestly, I just have to say I love Robert Downey Jr. and I love his portrayal of Sherlock Holmes. I don't know why. Like, honestly, I really thought that Robert Downey Jr. did a better job of Sherlock Holmes than Benedict Cumberbatch.
Honestly, I have to agree with you there too, because I've seen clips of like Benedict Cumberbatch's Sherlock Holmes, but seeing Robert Downey Jr.'s Sherlock Holmes just go through like London and stuff, going through London and really just having fun with like Watson and everybody else who was in there, and seeing his outlook on life and how like crazy he was. Like he's kind of a goofy character, but it still has that like real human feeling. He's still like grounded while being goofy is what I mean. And it's so much more entertaining than to watch like Benedict Cumberbatch's version, which I think is more just analytical rather than being able to play into that side of like, hey, you can be goofy while like you can be goofy while being like the super logical person, because I've seen it in like real people where they're like super logical, but they have these funny little quirks about them too.
Yeah, no, and I feel like a lot of people agree that Benedict Cumberbatch, or at least a lot of people see that Benedict Cumberbatch was a better Sherlock Holmes, was because at least in the novels, Sherlock Holmes was this, tall, lanky man who was over analytical and things like that. I mean, he still had a caring side to him here and there. As I saw Sherlock Holmes with Benedict Cumberbatch, like I like the show, but I feel like for me, for some reason, I feel like I could have related more to Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes, where he was easier to approach than this tall, lanky, overbearing, analytical guy, who just ambushed her, just like I want to say rhetorically slapped them in the face with whatever he said. And you see Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes, on the other hand, he has that same quality, but he makes use of it in a funny, quirky way. It's more like satire than actually, trying to attack somebody.
Yeah, and he's just a much more approachable guy, and it's like I love Benedict Cumberbatch. He's a great guy. But I really just think that like Robert Downey Jr. did a much better job with the character, because he's just so lovable, and I think that's just a thing with Robert Downey Jr. with whatever character he plays. It's just like you can't help but love him because he's so fun.
Honestly, when I honestly love Robert Downey Jr.'s portrayal of Iron Man as well, because at that point, that role of Iron Man, he basically had to play himself, his past self, because after all he went through. You look at Robert Downey Jr.'s life and everything. You see how when he got the role of Iron Man, he's just like, oh, this is easy because I've been through this. This big playboy, famous person, arrogant, and you really see sort of Robert Downey Jr. play into his goofy side in Sherlock Holmes, because Robert Downey Jr., you see on his Instagram a lot, he's a pretty goofy guy, he's a pretty funny guy. And I feel like Sherlock Holmes was a way for him to tap into that, or use that part of himself to apply it to the role he was playing.
Yeah, no, definitely for sure. And I really think that, as tragic as his background is, it definitely helped lend him a hand in acting and just being able to portray these characters in like such a lighthearted way, while still like keeping them grounded. Like, hey, these are like real characters that you should still be emotionally attached to, but still have that kind of connection to them.
Yeah.
That kind of like, they're still like funny, and that's what I really enjoy. Like, me, I love a good film that like the character is super gray, and you can't entirely root for him, but you still do. I like Walter White in Breaking Bad. Even though it's a TV show, like he gets pretty bad, but you still like can't stop rooting for him all the way up until like the second half of season 5. And and like those are the characters I usually love. But Sherlock Holmes or Robert Downey Jr. and Sherlock Holmes, like you still like can't not love them.
Yeah. So, and also like I think that's what really plays out throughout the movie. Like the things he does, he shoots at the wall, when he's doing like all these other things, when he poisons. I think that's the second movie, but yeah, that is the second movie. But like throughout both films, you see he's doing things like to upset people. I think in the first movie he was shooting the wall, trying to make a suppressor, and they're really mad at him. But at the same time, they couldn't stay mad at him for long, because it's just Sherlock being Sherlock. I really thought that was the funny part of it too. And I also like, my favorite parts from the movies was the fighting scenes when he analyzed everything. Like he knew to the point what he was going to do and what other people had gone through just by his quick observations. And you really don't, I like how they don't shoot you into like the over analyzation. Like he analyzes it, but not to a certain extent where it's boring, but to like where it's exciting, or where it's like, ooh, like, okay, I could see why I understand why he could see that, and analyze that.
Yeah, no, definitely, and I like, I like how you touched on the fighting and him analyzing what he was about to do. Like I loved it when he was in that situation when he was going through the sewers and seeing the guy that he was going to take down. And this is in like the first 5 minutes of the film. I think it's a great introduction to how you'll get to be able to see Sherlock like investigate and go through his like thought process with like throughout him trying to find out how Lord Darkwood is like, or like what Lord Darkwood is up to after he is resurrected, quotation marks. And just like having him imagine in his mind and being shown like this is what he's going to do for this reason. Like here's a chop to the neck to make sure that he doesn't scream, and then like a hard blow and all of this to like take him down. And then it only takes place for like a few seconds, and then after he analyzes it and he commits to the plan that he laid out. And to see that, and to see that is awesome. But I think, and also another great move that the director did, Guy Ritchie, a great move that he did was just make the action like super quick. Like still you saw that he was he used the same moves that he analyzed, but it was like super quick as to not be boring. Like you're going through the same thing over again. It's still like fluid, and and it's nice, you know. All of the action scenes that happen inside of the movie, even though Sherlock Holmes is mostly regarded as a person who doesn't really get into fights but uses his minds otherwise.
A battle of the wits.
Yeah, more of a battle of the wits. I liked how there was a different spin with Robert Downey Jr.'s Sherlock Holmes, which was, no, this guy can be like an action hero too. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, and also I kind of like the chemistry he has with Watson as well. You know, when they're at the graveyard and he says the game is on. No, the hunt is on, the game's afoot, and then like they finish each other's sentences in the name of the king, the queen, and Saint George. I really like that part because it's just like, ooh, like that's when things are at the exciting. You show that, and it really shows that chemistry that they have on how Watson knows what Sherlock is thinking and Sherlock knows what Watson is thinking. I really thought that was enjoyable, and like the chemistry between both of them and like their bickering and their bantering was really funny.
Yeah, no, honestly, I love Watson and Watson's and Sherlock's dialogue together, because it definitely felt like they were longtime buddies. Like what was it? I've been watching Drake and Josh a lot recently. I just finished it today, actually, from on Hulu, and to me it kind of reminded me of their like brotherly bond of just sort of at each other's throats all the time. Well, not like, you know, not so much with the case of Sherlock Holmes and Watson, but still like sort of have that edge with each other, but still have that brotherly love that are like, you know, you're still there for me, man. Like you're still, like I love you. I can't stop loving you, you know?
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed how also like going back to the action scenes and like the comedy of it, that there were some like funny moments in the action scenes, like when they're looking for the toothless guy.
Mm-hmm.
They were in the toothless guy's lab, and you see Sherlock Holmes discover like the taser, like the homemade taser that he even know was there, and he shocked the biggest dude. He's just like, oh, I wonder what this is, and he like goes and uses it to his advantage, and he tries to play off of that too. And I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, no, it was like, you know, it was definitely a much funnier movie than I remembered it for being, because I remember I'd watched this movie beforehand, before you recommended me it again. But you know, I just forgot, like it was just really funny at times, like when after Sherlock Holmes had, you know, met again with his like love interest in the film, and she not poisoned him, but like drugged him to fall asleep, and he woke up with all of his clothes off and like handcuffed to the bed. and just like it's literally like that. It's just he goes from falling asleep to waking up in a fucking like naked in a fucking bed. Like it's so funny that way. and the lady's reaction afterwards is just like, ah, after he says, no, you gotta be calm, like I need you to get the key. He's like, no.
No, he's just behind this pillow is the key to my release. She's just like, oh no. And also like, and you also see how sort of it gives Sherlock Holmes like a weakness as well, or show that he's actually human. Because yeah, like he's funny, he's intellectual, he's analytical, he's an action hero, but he has a weakness, and that weakness is Irene Adler, or in this case Rachel McAdams. And it's funny how she is one of like the few persons other than Moriarty, which you later watch, or Darkwood, that can outsmart him, or you know, can have one hand, like be one step ahead of him. And I thought that was really funny and really cool to see too, because it just gave him more of a human perspective to him. Like, oh, like he has a weakness, he's not invincible.
Yeah, no, definitely, because I know like in other adaptations, it shows like Sherlock Holmes basically being like a Superman hero, while also not like getting into a lot of fights, because Sherlock Holmes traditionally isn't a fighter. But with this film, you could definitely see like, oh, you know, what was her name, Rachel?
No, Irene Adler, but she was played by McAdams.
Oh, okay, yeah, no. So Irene Adler, you know, how she was basically his kryptonite. You know, like he couldn't be very analytical with her because he was just too taken with her.
Yeah.
And it was a nice touch because it definitely did humanize him, because I think it's a very human trait, because every guy has their girl that it's just a weakness, man. You just can't think around them.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that part. I really enjoyed the movie in general. Just from the plot. I mean, I felt like it was a tad bit rushed, but other than that, I felt that it was really good. And you see how, for everything that the people, like the police or Scotland Yard, thought was like mystical or dark magic, there was like a perfectly reasonable explanation for it. And you see how Holmes goes through that, like his analysis and his researching the events that happened. Be like, no, that wasn't dark magic. It was this, and this. And you see what lengths he goes to analyze things. Because when I think you saw that scene when he's all alone in the basement and he starts doing the ritual. The way after he's done the ritual and he's talking to Watson and Irene Adler, he's just like, my fluffy little cottontail got dirtied out of the down the rabbit hole, but at the same time I was enlightened. So like he went to that at a certain extent of following the rituals and going through that process to better understand what he was up against.
Yeah, no, I definitely did like how they showed that, just seriously the lengths he would go to. And also I would like to touch upon, like, there's this great editing technique that they use, or storytelling technique that they use, where they'll show what happens, like in the very beginning when Sherlock Holmes is first met with Irene Adler, and she gives him the payment to investigate a case and leaves to Moriarty, basically in the carriage.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a random guy that bumps into the horse and comes up to the carriage. You don't know who he is, but he gets thrown off. But then in the next scene, you have Sherlock Holmes explaining to Watson explaining to Watson what he did, and going visually into what Sherlock did after Irene Adler had left him, and showing how he became that man who bumped into the horse and went up to the carriage after he stalked Irene Adler. And they do it 2 times within the film, and both of those times I think were really amazing, because I was like, oh, that's interesting to be able to see both sides of the story and not just one. And again, how to what lengths that Sherlock Holmes will go to find out information.
Yeah. No, and it's also back to that technique, because you've seen a lot of movies, or a lot of action movies where the characters are someplace they're running away, and then their next destination they ended up in I don't know, somewhere like Italy, but you don't know the process in which they got to Italy, or what took them to Italy. And I really like that about, because you really don't see a lot. You never question what's happening in between, in Fast and Furious, movies. There'll be one place, and actually, they're driving somewhere down a highway, and you're like, where the hell did they go? How'd they end up from talking over here to out of nowhere just being on a highway, and it's just action scenes going on that didn't have to do with the scene originally. And I really like that in Sherlock Holmes, especially Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes, how you see that process in between. You see, again, the lengths, as you said, that he goes to get information, and how all of those scenes before that combine to make more sense and to create a bigger picture.
Yeah, no, definitely. It does something so great with its editing that way, and it definitely puts it in a league above a lot of other films or even TV shows that have tried to emulate Sherlock Holmes, or just what would you call it, investigation genre? Because because there are a lot of movies that deal with that, and I think that the Sherlock Holmes with Robert Downey Jr. does it, to me, either the best or really high up there, because it goes through all of that effort to sort of show the 2 sides of the story, and even when Sherlock Holmes is investigating is investigating like clues to lead to his final like discovery with Lord Darkwood. Like when he's up in the midgets, what is it? In the midgets, and the the ginger haired midgets like laboratory, and he sees everything, and there's like little bits and pieces that you get to like really zoom in on and hear his thoughts. But I think another great thing about the editing with that as well is that they particularly leave other stuff out, like when Sherlock Holmes looks at the honeycomb with the milk and doesn't like really comment on it with the editing, or when the what is it, the tombstone for Lord Darkwood is exploded, and they bring out the coffin, how Sherlock Holmes licks the stones, licks the broken stones, and you don't really get to focus in on that until at the very end, where he pieces everything together, all the information that you did know and all the information or that you didn't know, to make like a whole complete story.
Yeah, that's what really leads to what basically is the essence of Sherlock Holmes. He can observe something, but you won't pay attention, you won't pay no mind to it, but you won't know, because he knows that it's a small part that'll eventually lead to a bigger picture, and like those dots, when the dots connect to make the picture, but you really don't see it. You just let it pass you by because it's not something that's catching your attention. But once he puts it all together and explains it, and then you have to go back and think about it. Oh, so that's why he licked the tombstone. That's why he rubbed the tub and felt it, but didn't say anything. So things like that really get the watcher to really think about what Sherlock's actions are and what he does.
Yeah, no, and I think like putting all of that together and stuff is great, but the way they introduce how they're going to use those techniques to tell the story and go into the investigation of Sherlock Holmes is at the very beginning, and I really enjoy it. How Watson is trying to get Sherlock out of his house because he's been in his room for 2 weeks, and he meets Watson's like fiance basically, and she asks Sherlock like, hey, can you analyze me and like tell or like investigate or figure out it is what it is, figure out who I am. And he goes and he locates all of these different points of interest, all of these like really small details, and the camera even focuses on some close-ups, right, of these objects to sort of tell the story and to verbally hear his mental thought process into figuring out and piecing together a story about this person through like their little just accessories and their clothing. It's a great introductory into how Sherlock Holmes is going to function later on into the story. There's also a nice nod to how Sherlock Holmes really is in the books. I mean, I've never read the books, but I've heard that he does a lot of that person investigating with all of their accessories and their clothing and what's on their clothing and what else are they doing, how are they walking, and all of that sort of stuff.
Like, and that also like culminates to what I really enjoyed about was the scene where he gets blindfolded and he's taken to a place, and then the prime minister's just, or like the really important person, or I think he's a judge, he's like, oh, sorry, we had to blindfold you, we just can't know, we just couldn't tell you the location. He's just like, honestly, like, I don't think, he's like, I already know where I am. He's like, how'd you know that? Like the bus carriage, you hit a specific bump on this street right here, then you smell the glaze on the baguettes of a French baker on this street, and if I had to think about it here, this would be the only place where all those things connect. And he's just like, the only thing that's baffling me is like, why'd you have to blindfold me if you knew I'd eventually find out where I was? And I thought that was like really smart, like, got you.
Yeah, like I think honestly that's really smart too, because it's just like you just sort of gotta laugh at that and really it also brings in like how Sherlock Holmes wasn't just turned into an action hero who could fight everyone else, but also stays true to his very intelligent and investigative character. Of how he can figure out all of this stuff and keep this information in his mind to understand where exactly he's at and understand the story behind everything. They still keep true to that character, and I think that's amazing, while also turning him into an action hero, kind of.
Honestly, my ratings on this movie is like solid 8.5 out of 10, and I could honestly I could bump it up to a 9 for me, just because I really love movies and shows when it's a battle of wits, when they're bickering and bantering, when they're using words to get at each other in sort of a playful way. I don't know why, but I just enjoy that. I really enjoy that. So for me, it's like probably a good 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I can get that. I think I'm honestly stuck between like an 8 or 9 out of 10. Like I just have to like be around there.
8.5.
Yeah, I guess I could give it like an 8.5 out of 10. I really did enjoy it. and like really loved it. I would definitely like go back to watch it every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to talk about one thing where it was like I really enjoyed how they didn't like fully delve into Moriarty in the first movie.
Yeah.
Like they just sort of had him as a background villain, and would have him in the next film, Game of Shadows, as like the main villain.
Yeah.
I think that was awesome, because it's like, yeah, you definitely want to introduce like someone else and then Moriarty, because that's like the real nemesis.
Yeah. No, and also I like because it really plays as sort of a foreshadowing, because you see that Lord Darkwood's like, yeah, he was part of the picture, but there's an even bigger picture happening behind the scenes that you don't know yet. You've gotten hints to it, but you don't exactly know all the details to it.
Yeah. It was just one aspect of the film that I really did like, and I just wanted to talk about for a second. But I still submit my score, which is an 8.5 out of 10. I really did enjoy this, and is like probably the best like as a film or television version of Sherlock Holmes that I've ever seen.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah, I think that's we're wrapping it up for the podcast. That's it. Again, if you guys want what we talked about Pieces of Man by Gil Heron. I forgot his name. Oh, why did I forget his name? I just talked about him. Gil. I'm just gonna call him Gil. Gil Heron.
Gil Scott Heron.
Gil Scott Heron. There you go. I'm so sorry. Gil Scott Heron. You have the Dirty Heads album.
You had Any Port in the Storm by the Dirty Heads.
Dirty Heads, there you go. You had Redline, which I highly recommend. And we also have Sherlock Holmes, Robert Downey Jr. version. But yeah, that's it for the podcast. And, just before we head off, we just wanted to say also that we've been talking about this idea for a while about, having the listeners or, the people that we know on social media or friends we know just recommend us movies and music to listen to, because honestly, when me and Jacob, we can recommend movies to ourselves and everything, but it's really just sort of a way to open up our horizons and really give us a way to analyze more things and push us a little bit out of our comfort zones as well. And we're going to be posting this, I think, after this video releases, polls, not polls, but on our stories, questions about recommendations about movies and music and albums and things like that. So if you guys are open and if you guys want to recommend stuff to us, we are open for any suggestions. And just to close things off, we know there's a lot of, as we said in the beginning, there's a lot of anxiety and fear and a lot of rebellion, but things that are uncertain in the world right now. We just want to tell you guys, be safe, be healthy, stay healthy, be with your family, and God bless. Jacob, any last words?
Just stay safe, and just stay safe out there. It's pretty tough times right now, and I just hope everyone stays okay for in the meantime, and enjoyed really the podcast, because we like making it. I know I have fun, and it's nice to sort of get away from the news and everything and social media, because I know sometimes I can I can get way too deep into that. So
as we said before, what you guys are looking for to escape yourself. I mean, honestly, it's probably not the best. We are not the best quality podcast. I mean, we're recording this on Zoom, for crying out loud. It's just our thoughts, and if you want to open up, want to find us some new distractions, we're here for you. But again, thank you so much, Jacob Fernandez, my son, for having the time to talk to me about these music and movies, and just good night, and thank you so much for everybody who was listening.